Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Play Supreme Ruler Ultimate, episode number 10. Back to research, right? So we'll unpause, and hopefully this entire episode will be able to move pretty quickly. I've actually noticed one of the slowdowns to my game when I get a lot of lag is actually because of having my recording software up. I don't know why they somehow don't interact well, or, so they interact a little bit poorly. Off camera, I gave some orders to move some troops. Not really anything. I basically just broke up the group of EZ8s into units which will head down a variety of different roads. So we have 4 covering this Russian border, 3 covering this, which we would need more for any significant invasion, 4 covering this road, and then 8 covering what I would consider the main avenue in, and probably the main direction which enemy troops would come from, which is the more important concern there. Still working on this labor shortage. Hopefully that resolves itself. I was looking at the research picture, kind of looking ahead and seeing what kind of things we're going to be needing to activate. I don't even bother activating improved immunosuppression. I mean, I guess I can because it's 1970. We have so much research in front of it that needs to be done first. We'll go ahead and throw it on the list. And I will move up to the highest rate of time flow. Turboprop prototype, we will queue up immediately the advanced turboprop prototype. This doesn't usually unlock things directly. I mean, there are a few that may be unlocked, but like if I go down to even the C-130A, so that it will be unlocked directly, but any of the other ones will probably require some other prerequisite. I don't know why that's so hard for my tongue to say, but if we go back down to like a C-130E, so this one requires advanced aircraft engines, which we don't have and we won't be able to get to for... I actually have no idea when it'll be available, so let's go ahead and delete these and not turn off... okay, show help. Let's turn off that and delete it. Turn off, delete. I'm just trying to get this so we don't have to deal with that every single time. Okay, United Kingdom and Turkey. This is kind of one of the interesting things, the alliances with Turkey, because Turkey does have a chance, or maybe it's even a scripted event, where they happen to have some kind of revolution. And then the question is, are you supposed to, are you honoring your alliance with this new country? What are your, I think it gives you an instant casus belli, but anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to there. Something I'll be saying a lot. I'll be talking about all these possibilities and then immediately drop anything from a serious discussion because, hey, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But this is still actually, nothing is happening right now. Nothing is going to happen, at least for us. I mean, war is unlikely to be declared or anything like that. So immunosuppressive drugs, we'll just let nuclear reactors fill in. And we don't have anything queued up right now. We could probably start queuing up some of these other ones. Yeah, rubber. Let's make sure we're keeping an eye on rubber. We're in really good shape. We want to continue to be in really good shape, so we'll continue to set up relations. Getting the rubber from the UK if they'll allow it, and so far they will. Good. 2.6. All right, the derivative is positive. We're on the way up, so that's good. Even though we're not quite above 3%, which is the point I'll usually wait before I start building huge amounts of stuff. Well, we're working our way there. So, I did talk about getting another research center. We probably are okay. One of the things I was looking at off camera was the different designs currently available to us. And the last one I was looking at, as this shows, is artillery. It's funny, artillery, we have much better soft attack possibilities, but the world's going to continue to shift more and more towards hard targets, even infantry in the near future. We saw, I think I mentioned the Bradleys in the last episode. That's going to be where things are going more and more. Okay, so it says that there's nothing, 11 out of 12, but I think Did it catch? Yeah, so actually we're at 12 out of 12 because advanced turboprop prototype was enabled, so that's good. So we can see actually now C31H different. I mean, so these will have to wait just for more than just advanced turboprop. It would be nice if there was a way to... Okay, so Egypt is still slowly entering this crisis. These are scripted, I believe. And eventually it's going to culminate in some kind of revolution and a war with Israel, if I'm not mistaken. It's basically over who's going to control the Suez Canal and this... I mean, it's a historical thing. I don't really know much about it. I'm pretty much only aware of it from this game. But there was some like, Egypt is now new, you know, Great Britain gives control to Egypt of the canal and everything, but they kind of trust that things won't go horribly pear-shaped from doing that. And then Egypt started to destabilize. There started to be concerns over whether the canal would remain open or how it would be controlled. That's my understanding, so I don't have a very good understanding. It's probably clear from the way I'm speaking about it. A few things to do here. Get all those checked off. And now we do need one more technology. One thing we're going to want to do is build, or research at least, we're going to give a contract to the M103. We do want to give them, it's 6 times more expensive than the EZ8s, or really 7 times more expensive, maybe even more than that. That's like 8 point, we'll call it, I think it's like 9. Yeah, so we'll just call it 7. Is this actually a tank which is 7 times better than the EZ8? No, not even remotely close. But still, on a 1-for-1, like if you're limited to 7 units in a hex, and you want to fill that hex with 7 of something, better to fill it with 7 of these than 7 EZ8s. So, I mean, if you use that mentality, you know, there's more justification for using them. They also have pretty good sight range, 47 versus I think the EZ8 only has like 19 or something like that. Let's quickly look, because this is the fun of it. Yeah, 17. M46 Pershing actually not a bad option. It's a good in-between. Slightly higher maintenance, but the stats are better, 14 and 26. Worse in the cities, but if you want to do damage to tanks, 6 points better. So that's good. It's worth considering. Also, 18 versus 17. Well, that's not too much. It looks like it's less fuel efficient. Oh yeah, much less fuel efficient. But I'm sure that if we looked at, oh god, the M103. Yeah, okay, it's actually not much worse than the, what was that? The M46. I wanted to say 48, but that's the patent. Yeah, the M46. Okay, unpause. Keep moving. Oh, what am I doing? No, we don't want to unpause yet. We want to fill in this last missing thing. Now, if you leave a research spot vacant, it's not a huge deal. It is filled in a sense. It's not like wasted. The money is, I think, given back to you. Maybe we'll go with... This actually is important. I don't know why I wasn't doing that earlier. Okay, let's do the carrier hydraulics. Which it looks like, I mean, that's already jumped up to number 3 in the list. Apparently it's only going to take 59 days. We'll do the improved, yeah, we'll do this whole line of research. Even though it only leads to the forestall. That's fine. We might as well also do the super carrier. It gives us something to research if one of these finishes, which tilt rotor will finish, and tilt engine pods, a 1976 tech we won't be able to use. Does tilt rotor give us anything? No. Okay. Air defense sites only gives us air defense locations, as one would expect. And then the carrier one doesn't give us anything directly. So we're going to actually need, it's going to be a long time before we actually have new designs available from all this. Still 2.6. It'll take a little while to come up. Egypt would like to offer us petroleum at not even the worst rate, but we don't need petroleum, and we definitely don't want it from Egypt. They're not going to give us a good rate. So, another thing I could be queuing up are these F-106A's Delta Darts. They're extremely fast, 2,000 kilometers an hour. It's just Very, very, very quick, especially for this era. And they have extremely high, the highest for this era, I believe, their attack value. So those are, I mean, those are two amazing things going for it. They're very quick. They have decent range at 1200 or 1100, something like that. It's far enough that you can get the job done. Like we can look at these twin Mustangs have a range of 3500. That's actually incredibly long ranged. Okay, air defense sights. Are we short on technology now? 11 to 13. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and research one of these extra items. I think I'm going to go with the F-106 first. So let's throw that one into the list. We could actually start doing some of these as well. This bullpup ends up being a staple, I find. Useful to get that. Oh my gosh, I forgot, I think, to take off the auto build. No, I was actually smart. We took off the auto build. Hooray! Yes. Normally the AI just queues lots of nukes and really depletes your uranium. So it's nice to see that that's not the case. More rubber, fantastic. How's our rubber situation doing? It's about where we left it last time, so which means that we need to try to take more from the UK. More, give us more. Maybe something like 5,000. As long as they're willing to sell it to us, we're willing to buy it. Oh wow, okay, so now we actually have another research facility, which means time to queue up. Oh, well, perfect. We have 13 going already. Let's queue up one more. I guess the best thing to queue up next would be the M103. Oh, another thing we can queue up is these newer motorized engineers. I'm not even sure if we'll use them, so maybe I won't queue it up yet, because we definitely will build some M102s. They're really, I mean M103s. They're really good at urban fighting. Very effective. Wow, that missile took no time at all. Okay, that explains why our extra research slot was immediately used. So let's go over and see if there is anything else. We haven't really looked at this screen. I haven't showcased it for you. There are a lot of missile options. And how this works is, for now, we can go over here and we can do strategic launch stuff. Right now, I can launch these 10 kiloton nuclear bombs. We need a platform to launch those off of, which you need to have them in reserve. So if I put my B-36s in reserve, even if I put my B-29s in reserve, that was the original strategic platform, which delivered the Fat Man and Little Boy. So you have them in reserve, and then you move them over as an assigned platform for the strategic targeting pool. And then you deploy ordnance to them just by moving stuff over. Now we don't have any platforms, so the only thing we could be doing is silo launch. You don't need to, obviously for platforms you don't have to silo launch. Anyway, that's just all showing where nukes and all that would go. Right now I think we don't even have that many nukes. Currently we have 236 10 kilotons, and we could build a few 100 kilotons. I don't think it's necessary. We're going to get better access to better things. So we'll just keep in mind that 100,000 kilograms of uranium gives us these stats. And we'll compare that with various other uranium usages. Note that this is has to be dropped on target. So you can't just launch this as a missile, which a lot of them will allow you to do. So we can see that this one can be launched from 16 kilometers away, which is exactly 1 hex. So it basically lets you have a very small amount of leeway. You're probably still going to take counterfire. But this is meant to be down and dirty, close, like either some aircraft dropping ordnance or attacking heart attack targets, or, I don't know. Look, I mean, this missile only took 3 days to research, and the build cost is, well, I'm surprised it's 3 million. That's actually much more than I was expecting. I was going to expect 1. Anyway, it's just a cheap thing. We can put those on helicopters, which gives them a lot more punching power. Let's start to look for other ones, though, that are a little more appropriate. This petrol is basically just for anti-ship. Not really an interesting one, although what was the range on that? 37, so it's got decent range at least. You could put those on some helicopters to give them a little bit more bite. These are really short range, 600 kilometer nuclear, so NLCM, I don't even know what that stands for. It should be like submarine launched SL, I think is what I'd be looking for from sublaunched, so I'm not sure what that indicates. But these are all really too old. Oh, that's what I was looking at here. Submarine launched something missile. It's not continental. Submarine launched. Huh. I don't remember. Well, bummer. Let's unpause. I know that we have one more slot available. Wait. Oh, we're at 13 out of 13 still? Amazing. We're probably going to throw on something else. What's the anta? The Demon's interesting from the standpoint that it has, still decent air attack. Remember, or maybe I haven't even shown this, but the twin Mustangs we're using have, I think, an anti-air rating of 18, which is just already blowing things out of the air. So 23 is, it's not amazingly better, but at the range of 47, that's pretty important. You can be hitting things from multiple hexes away at that point. They want to buy coal from me, sure. I mean, just as long as... Whoa! Offering 9, requesting 20? You're crazy. 15.9, that's fine. They achieve independence, fine. So yes, and I don't know, just acknowledge that. Yeah, and this is where the game will be stuck for a while. I say stuck as if it's a bad thing. This is, again, something I really enjoy. Oh yeah, I haven't really even looked at research yet. But you know what? This constellation is pretty darn good. The view range of 235 is what I'm like keenly focused on when we look at that. 12 and I don't know why people are so stingy about that. We'll take that, yes. Maybe Pakistan is better friends suddenly. First of all, what's the deal with the coal here? Oh, they want to sell it to me because... So maybe I should be accepting that. But actually shutting it down should save the people working it for other jobs, which is great. Also, power should be extremely cheap, and we're able to sell a ton of it right now because we have a lot of coal power. We actually have a lot of petrol power, but petrol's really cheap too, 5, so I'm not going to complain, but coal, yeah, slightly more coal than petrol, but almost equal amounts. And that's great. Okay, 2 at the same time, oh boy. Carrier hydraulics, we have 12 projects, 13 research facilities, 11 projects, 13... So I don't think I want to research this next one for nuclear tests because the whole world is strongly opposed to it. Now note, I already mentioned pollution levels don't actually play a role in this game. So this is IRBM, that's an intermediate ranged ballistic missile, and this is intercontinental. So the Atlas is fully long range, 8,000 kilometers, and probably one that we would actually end up researching. Now note, this is over 400,000 kilograms of uranium, and it does not give us a full 4-fold increase over the 100,000 kilogram, 100 kiloton. Let's just call it 100 kiloton. So apparently this is not kilogram, but kiloton, I guess. Or I guess that I'm trying to measure the explosion versus the weight of the uranium, and maybe those two things aren't compatible. So we'll take the improved carrier construction, but do we want the world to be opposed to us? The only problem is there's 3 nations right now which are aligning towards the Warsaw Pact. Venezuela, which we don't care about. Syria, which we don't care about. But India, we do. If it's possible for us to somehow sneak India back into the neutral, or, on the other hand, if we can somehow get some other people to start being more NATO aligned, those would all be good things. And I don't think that this is going to help our cause any, dropping nukes. The question is, what is Russia researching right now? Okay. Not really worth us buying this. This is the one where you can only get... It's only for German and Russian artillery. So they're not at least ahead of us in nukes. But we will get behind on nukes if we don't research it, so you know what, we're going to go ahead and research it. It's that whole interesting game. So that's great, good. And, well, we'll take the first two. Forgot what my mute button was. I went for my mute for the Discord chat. Not the same for my actual recording. That's a no. This is a yes. Argentina's probably going to go through a bunch of government changes, so we don't need to worry about trying to impress them too much. But it's close enough to the even trade that I'm willing to accept it. So that process, by the way, of NATO aligning, once you're completely NATO aligned, you're kind of locked in. So this light red, or light blue, the leaning, it can be undone. I mean, it can also, even this locked in blue, I guess, can probably somehow be undone, because I've seen people. No, actually, I'm not sure if I've seen anybody shift from completely one to anything but locked in there. But what I was just thinking of an example where I was actually perfect friends with somebody, so perfect relations, like this bar was completely green, and then they ended up going Warsaw Pact aligned. So you would think that the two would be kind of opposed to each other. Anyway, so we'll accept these, and no. Well, but coal is the one that, anyways, we already declined it. Yes, and again, with this coal, it's 2-to-1, which I think is like the market rate. They're just giving us market rate for it, but I'm not okay with that. Sorry. 32%, 2.6, nothing new yet. That's better, yes, and yes. We should check our rubber. So it's already February in 1952. We're plowing ahead pretty well from a time standpoint. Now, some people have complained. I know that one of the people we were playing multiplayer with was not really happy with the limit of the game. This is kind of like how Hearts of Iron 3 was. No matter how fast you want to go, you're limited by the game's speed. It just won't go as fast as you want it to go sometimes. I'm okay with it as it is. Okay, Switzerland I'm actually going to accept because, oh man, they're wait, there's 3 leaning, but this is, what the heck? Switzerland is full on aligned. What? Oh man, that's strange. That might lead to some weird events later on. We could see something like Italy declare war on Switzerland. Now, it won't matter because they're not actually allied with anyone. I don't think. Yeah, they are not. It's very hard to become Switzerland's... Excuse me. It's very hard to become Switzerland's ally. And that's true in real life, as probably some people already know. And it's true in this game as well. So yeah, just waiting for the next big thing to happen, but most of what this is letting our research tick on. And monitoring again. Oh good, so we're up to almost 1 million rubber. This is actually great. Because we'll probably want to build up more consumer goods, we'll want to build up more industrial goods. It's a bad thing right now that the market is cheaper, but okay, c'est la vie. How's our purchasing of uranium going? Okay, well it's at 4. Let's raise it to 5. We're willing to go up to 5. We'll buy. Let's drop it down to 4 and just wait for hopefully things to accumulate there for a bit. Market availability, is excellent. Okay, well, we'll raise that back up. Back down to poor. Never mind. Every time we just keep buying everything that's left on the market. I assume this is rubber. It is. And let's go back and see if we can buy some more. Ooh! Understanding DNA. I paused immediately, seeing that somebody else has a technology we don't. 25 days. It's worth it. Let's get it. I'm willing to spend the money because actually we won't spend the money. We'll just try to swap some text with them. Military vessels 51. Well, that's now a year behind. We'll do the integrated defenses as well. Man, it's always with the British. They're so stingy. They just don't want to give you anything. All right, how much do I have to give you? Wow. All right, we'll do it. All right, it disappeared, so we know we got it. Yes, that's good. It's quite a good exchange. All right, so what do we want to do now? We don't have 13 going, I'm pretty sure. Oh, we already did the M103. No recon. About air defense. How are we looking there? No, I think the one we have is better. This is 35, 14 at 18. Let's go take a look. 35, 14 at 18. Yeah, so this is just in every way superior to the other technology. So it does not get the bid. They went to Congress with their proposal, and it was rejected. I'm gonna get some better things than this. Basically, these bridging things. Well, they do bridging. That's mainly what they're there for. They're supposed to be really high defense so that they can kind of withstand a lot of fire while they're doing the bridge. Now, mind you, the engineers are also capable of doing bridging. The disadvantage that they have with respect to those bridging units is that they have lower defense. So they take more damage, and they're killed off easier. So you have a bridge, and they can destroy it before you get across. Now, these are the one disadvantage of these engineers. So people ask me, what does it mean if you're an engineer? Well, what this means is you're allowed to build stuff, which makes sense, right? But what does that mean in terms of, in like the game terms, is let's say you go someplace where you don't have supply, and we'll actually showcase this eventually, like this island. So this island has 0 supply, which means if I tried to build something, I think it would take forever or nearly forever. But engineers speed up the construction of anything in the hex they're in or in any of their zone of controls. So the 6 hexes surrounding them. What that means is something which you'll see construction time 100 days, and on the next day it'll jump down to like 97, 96. I mean, that's if you have a lot of engineers. So they speed up the construction. Now, the construction time being slowed by no supply is going to... I think it's slowed by no supply, by the way. I don't know the exact mechanic with supply. I believe it just affects the efficiency of things. And I don't know how that works. I think 0 supply doesn't mean 0%. I think maybe it means 50%. So it's a linear scale from 50 to 100. That's my guess. That's how I would do it, actually, if I was programming it. So that's how engineers work. They speed up building of things. The fact that these engineers... Every engineer also has the ability to be a bridging unit, so they double in this sense. And then if you've seen demolition, that just means that the unit is able to actually destroy, can just like immediately destroy some kind of building in the hex they're in. So if I were to go over, there's the bridging option. If I were to go over to a river hex, I would just right-click the bridging on that hex, and they would act as a bridge. Otherwise, bridges, you can see, are, well, I think they appear, there it is. So it appears on the pop-up list, but it doesn't appear in the actual LAN hex. So there's a bridge on this, and I guess when you build a road over something, it gets a bridge, but otherwise you need to act as a temporary bridge. So something like that. Hopefully that was understandable. And this whole time we've been talking, we're still down on 1 tech, but again, it doesn't matter too much because we just aren't wasting the money for that. But I'm pretty sure that we can find, yeah, maybe we should get airships. It's a 1913 tech, which it's still pretty cool that they have it, but oh yes, that's what we want. This, feast your eyes on the KC-135E Strato tanker. I believe the KC-135R is still the, well, no, they have some 747s, I think, now, but, well, this is a really good refueling tanker. So you can see that unit is a fuel tanker. So if this is in the same hex with another, let's see, yeah, perfect. So this one has both. So if it's in a hex with a unit which can be mid-air refueled, the strato tanker can give the fuel to the other one. So that's great. Now the strato tankers happen to be very fuel inefficient. This is how I interpret this, at least. I interpret it that it costs them a full tank of fuel for them is 7,100. That'll get them 11,000 miles. Now that means that they are horribly fuel inefficient. Now, I don't know if I believe that. I mean, it just seems insane for the super constellation, which is like not that much lighter. Well, 433 versus 535. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit lighter. Is it possibly 50 times less fuel efficient than the super constellation? That doesn't make sense to me. I refuse to believe it. Like the Globemaster 2, this is a huge aircraft. This is 504 cargo capacity, so yeah, it's rather big. And this is still like, I don't know, just, let's see, times this by 4, because this is like, the other one's 1100, so we'll just use simple exaggerated units. Let's call it 400 fuel to do the same 11,000 range. 400 versus 7,000, I mean, it's like 20 times less efficient. It doesn't make sense to me. So maybe I'm just missing something. Maybe it is simply that fuel inefficient. But what I would like to believe is that this is part of the extra fuel that it can carry. And maybe it doesn't exactly translate to a full tank going 11,000 kilometers, meaning you used up 7,000 fuel. But maybe it does. I mean, maybe it is just really that inefficient. And I'd like to hear back from people if that's the case or not. Because if it is, I may start using a different one. But my question is essentially this. Does the fuel that you give your other unit come from your fuel supply, or is it considered part of your cargo capacity? I don't know. Anyways, this strato tanker is amazing because it does carry 484. It also does the mid-air refueling. It has insane range. It's fast. Very good defense from the ground. So in a lot of ways, it's very good. And because I haven't heard from anybody back from the comments, obviously, not yet at least, whether it's really just the most inefficient fuel airplane imaginable, I just have a really hard time believing that. Pakistan. The fact that it's coming from Pakistan means we will accept because we're trying to get on Pakistan's good side. And money doesn't mean much unless you have friends. We want to be friends. Still, they won't allow us even criminal extradition. Sometimes. So we'll go back to technologies and see if we can catch somebody else leading the way with anything. See, look at this. Modern Stirling engines. How close are we to getting that? Every darn time. Every darn time. But hey, they're saving us a small amount. Let's be thankful that they are saving us time at all. All right, what do you guys want? Let's give you military vessels, MAD. Integrated air defense is actually useful, and then advanced hull designs. Yeah, we'll just do this trade. In fact, give me money. Give me money for all that. And he did. Hooray! Good. They were shortage, still 2.6, not bad. So that means that we finished that one, and oh, okay, so the next one's already started. Very good. We'll get the next one ready on top of that, even though, never mind, that's a 2006 tech. We don't need to worry about getting that one. I probably have really gone over the top by clicking that one. Okay, Bolivia has overthrown their government. Has something a little bit closer to home. The Monroe Doctrine requires us to pay attention to that kind of news. Acknowledge that. Petroleum from Argentina, it's still not a very good rate, so I'm going to decline that one. Let's keep looking for technology. And I can also just keep an eye on the USSR this way, so they still only have that one. I believe that's the only one they can really get ahead of us. They're bringing that closer to even. Yeah, you know what? We'll take that. I want to reward them for coming closer. Not that the game works that way, but just role-playing stuff again, if nothing else. And I get to take a quick break of not talking just for a moment, kind of relax and catch my air. Give me a moment to not have to say something. Okay, advanced turboprops. This will probably help show the situation here. So we have the C-130A. It's not known as a... Oh, well, this is pretty inefficient. Huh. That is, like, really inefficient, actually. And it's not a mini refueler or anything. I think that this is simply just that inefficient. It's hard for me to believe the Globemaster 2. It's really hard for me to believe. Is the Globemaster 2 like that amazing of an aircraft that it's that efficient? I mean, it'll very easily be shot down. It doesn't fly very quickly. It's actually quite slow. And this thing's... Well, this one's not much faster. Oh, right. That's because it's not... That's not the one we're looking at. Yeah, this is not... it's 800. That's something. Point being, let's not focus on the transport things until I hear back from people and, like, really give this whole idea a second thought. What we can safely research, I think, is this EC-121 constellation. The range, 235, is amazing. So the one downside of this thing is it can't be carrier launched. It's always nice to get... I think we're going to get one in a little bit, which is carrier launched. Another downside is, although it has pretty good defensive stats, has no offensive capability, absolutely zero. So, very good range though. Should I wait? Let's look at the Neptune, P2V7 Neptune as a comparison. This one does submarine damage but doesn't find submarines, 136. 10 and 10, so it's weaker, it's easier to shoot down. 80 and 40 versus 180 and 100. I don't know. I don't want to research. I just really don't want to waste research on stuff which we're not going to end up researching. Okay. Oh, we don't have this tech yet. I was going to say this is a no-brainer. We'll get the submarine stuff, but it's not a no-brainer because we don't have those techs yet. We do have some of these like very high anti-air attack capital ships coming in. I may have to narrow this list down to stop showing units that have been replaced or obsolete. This is another one, 90 at 215, exceptionally long range. Really, really good. Quite a lot of fuel, exceptionally long range as well with its own range. Let's compare that. This is 115 at 44. The other one was like 90 at 200 and something. It was just really, really, really long. So 310 at 27 versus 310 at 27. So they're the same there. 90 at 215. 510, 390. 510, 390. So very similar. It just depends on if you want a little bit more firepower, close range, or a little bit less firepower at much longer range. And they're both medium reaction time, so we don't gain anything from that. Let's close the capital ships, look at the escorts. I don't think that these have any submarine detection, which is actually worse than our existing one. Really just giving you a rundown of all the ships that we have. So let's just look at any of these, but let's look at the Fletcher. 5 kilometers, that's I think what all of them have, just 5 kilometers. But that means at least if you run over a sub, you can detect it. It doesn't make sense to me that somehow the next ships don't have any technology to detect subs. That doesn't mean they can't counterfire. Because they have submarine attack capability, if a submarine launches on them, they can still counter launch. But now we're leaving a research facility blank for the moment. It's a little bit... I guess if we have nothing else to do, we might as well just get this multiple launch one. We're not researching anything else. I can't think of anything else better to do. The one thing I can think of right now is that we need to keep checking on our rubber situation with the UK. See how we're doing there. Yeah, we're down to 720. We were almost up to 1 million for a while. Yeah, and they're way up there, so let's go like 9,000. We'll pay whatever you need. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. From Cuba, of all people. Who would have thought? Okay, 32.3, our just continue to sink. Ah, high yield nuclear weapon. Okay, so that should now give the next one. Ah, it's not available. Huh. So the only technology left for us to research is chemical warfare shells. This is also one that everyone is really opposed to, and all it really does is lead to chemical weapons production. I don't think we need this. Unfortunately, the very last one, NBC weapons effects up to plus 100%. It is kind of nice to have that. Just improves your offensive capability. I mean, NBC, this should mean the uranium ones, which means the nukes would also improve in effectiveness. So, which means this is actually like kind of valuable. Even though the world would just hate you for doing either of the first two techs, the third one is beneficial. Wish there was a way to jump right to the last one. Okay, well, we'll just unpause. And you know what? Since we have the research capacity, it does cost money to research though, so maybe we shouldn't just do things willy-nilly. I'm going to get that engineer motorized. Okay, more rubber. By the way, did the UK ever accept that agreement? We can always check the agreements we have. Yeah, they did. Good. Very good. And that's the quiet life. This has been, I think, is this the second episode that we've gone fully through without anything really happening? I know the tensions are going to start building up in the Middle East, and we'll see what happens there. But I think I'm going to pause the video here and call the video to a close. Yeah, it's just Research Simulator. I still really enjoy this. Actually, it's funny. The engineer was... There was no room for her at the end. At the inn. Is there anything else I want to do? I mainly focus on the ground attack stuff, which ultimately is the most important. We don't really need to worry about the air because we are already getting the F-106, which is the best interceptor. This is interesting. The F-105B is, I mean, it's exceptionally fast. In fact, the next one, I think it's the Thunder Chief 2. I think it is the F-105C. That breaks 2,000. It's insanely fast. 2,400. I think the range is... I want to say the range suffers, but maybe it doesn't. What does suffer is its ability to do anti-air. I think it doesn't even have the ability to target air units. But 3431, this is what makes this unit very good, is it's very difficult for ground units to attack it. It's even difficult for other air units to attack it. So, here's the A4A Skyhawk. Also really good. That's what the tactical bombers are supposed to be, is really high defensive, at least against ground force units, so that they don't take much damage. And that doesn't play a huge role yet, but with this missile silos that we were just, the ground defense, missile defense I should say, that we unlocked, the military facility, those are really devastating on even the strategic bombers. Let's check Pakistan. Well, I mean, I said we're going to end the episode, but it wouldn't be a complete episode unless we check Pakistan once again for something as simple as criminal extradition. They still don't like us. Okay. Well, fair enough. We'll call it to a close here. So, thanks for watching, and until the next episode, take care.